What's up, chows and chowdettes? And I'm here because the Team Fortress 2 announced a huge announcement, and those are balance changes to weapons and classes. Now, I am super hyped on this, but do keep in mind that according to the Team Fortress team, that this is not the complete list of changes. Some items, including classes, are still being worked on and are not ready for review. And they're going a little deeper on some classes this time. For example, a scout, not as deep as others, e.g. the demo man, which I'm pretty proud of because I'm a scout main for myself. That's right, make fun of me. Anyways, this is a work in progress. Items may change prior to release. But let's get started on the first, the one and only weapon, the panic attack. Now, this is one of our least used weapons according to them. Well, no duh, but many people use them. I know a lot of people. But the new design is going to have 50 faster switch speed, 50% more pallets, and 30% less damage, and fires a wide fixed shot pattern regardless of server settings. Now, of course, I think this is pretty more of a buff than a nerf, though, because originally it was pretty good if you had low health, but the shot pattern grows with successive shots, e.g. while holding down the attack button, but resets after you stop firing or reload. So this is a little bit of equal, but I think it's like a little above the buff. So I think this is probably going to be the next Legitimator, guys. So be afraid of the panic attack, according to me, guys. You can always track. But we have the next weapon, and that is going to be Spy and the Ambassador. Now, of course, I hate being headshot, despite that we have way better revolvers. For example, you may say the Diamondback, the Lectranger, the stock revolver. There's so many weapons that you can use, unlike the Ambassador, which doesn't even do any well. It's pretty inaccurate for myself. And let's read the stats. Players that are headshot from across the map are expecting to see a sniper in their death cam, but sometimes they see more often than we'd like a spy with a revolver. And the changes are going to be: first shots are no longer perfectly accurate. Bullet spread is instead reduced by 50%. This makes headshots less reliable at long range, while still very viable at close and medium range. And I think this is not really going to change. But if you see a spy with the ambassador from a faraway distance, don't be afraid. Don't, unless it's close to medium. Then you better, I don't know what to say. Just be afraid, I guess. If they have a 500 hours in spy. But anyways, the Den Ringer. Oh yes, the Den Ringer. The Feigned Death is an interesting effect, but a good spy can use it extremely frequently, making it frustrating to play against and reducing the risk of using it nearly constantly. Now, we all hate those, like those Den Ringer spies, but I don't really use it that much. I prefer the Invis Watch, and the change is going to be, let's see, ammo kits and dispensers no longer refill the spy's coolant meter. Ooh. That's harsh, man. That's harsh. You just made it a lot worse. Oh, man. And we're not going to do the Eternal Orb because, you know, I don't think no one uses it. But for the Sandman, for the Scout, the feedback on this weapon has been fairly consistent for a while. Players really hate losing the ability to fight back. Compounding this, the ball has to travel really far in order to disarm players. Being hit by a long-range ball, more often than not, ends up feeling random rather than skilled. I mean, to be honest, I use it, and I don't use the flying guillotine. I just do it to help my team, you know. But let's see the changes. Long-range balls, impact no longer remove the victim's ability to fire the weapons, but the victim is still slowed. We have updated achievements that were looking for disarmed players. Max range balls now do 50% increased damage from a base of 15, and the flight time required to trigger the max effect has been reduced by 20%. Ball regeneration reduced to 10 seconds from 15. Now, I think this is a humongous nerf to the Sandman, and I think I'm probably going to switch to the Atomizer. Just saying. Sandman's pretty bad. Alright, let's go with the Bonk Atomic Punch. Let's see. This weapon was designed to allow scales to pierce hotly contested areas. While it does quite well, it doesn't quite require enough skill or carry much of a downside. Now let's see the changes. Apply a slow effect for the player after phasing wears off. based on amount of damage they absorbed, and from minus 25% at a low damage to negative 65 at plus 200 plus damage, and lasts for 5 seconds. Oh, that's pretty short. I don't use it, so I don't really care. But let's go for the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol, which is probably one of the worst pistols there is for the Scout. But this weapon was designed to allow Scouts to pierce hotly contested areas. Wow, it does this quite well. It doesn't require enough skill or carry that much of a downside. No one uses it because it's bad. Valve, who said that? Alright, I want you to email me the list of players who said that. Like, no one uses the weapon. Okay, we all either use the winger or the pistol. Okay, either that or you're just doing this for yourself. But let's see the changes. 15% firing speed, up to 7 plus HP per hit, and a negative 25% clip size. Ooh, this is actually gonna. This is like a huge buff for the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol. I think this is actually pretty good. I actually now have potential for the future for the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol, considering that this is pretty good. The firing speed and plus 7 HP, but the clip size can really affect it, considering that we need to get more clip in order to finish our enemies from a distance. And let's see, the Criticola. The last change to this item added mark for death when the effect while ended. This was okay because it forced Scouts to get out after a little while, but it didn't add any risk in the moment. Now the changes for this is added each attack while active adds a mark for death debuff for 5 seconds, does not stack, and remove mark for death when effect expires. Also, this removes the plus 25 move speed bonus and the 10% damage taken penalty. Now for the they've removed the speed bonus. I think this is a buff because we didn't really necessarily needed it, and I don't think Scouts can aim with that speed. But for the rest, I think it's gonna make a Criticola need a lot skill actually. Let's see. Ooh, the Atomizer. I know a lot of people that use the Atomizer, and I can relate. This is a pretty decent, good weapon, you know. Let's see. The Atomizer, the Triple Bunch, was a passive effect, is just too strong. It makes combat against the Scout unpredictable because opponents don't see the bat and therefore have a hard time anticipating the Scout's capabilities to late encounter. This also makes the Scout very strong against explosive classes due to a combination of extreme mobility and high close range damage. The goal is to require a Scout to deploy the bat to take advantage of the extra jump, which is also a signal to other players that they can perform an extra jump and reduce the bat's negative to compensate. Anyways, I don't think that was very important. Let's check through the changes. The triple jump is now only possible while the bat is deployed, and they removed the self-inflicted damage when triple jumping, and they removed the attack speed penalty. They added the melee attacks done while airborne mini crits. They added the 50% deploy time penalty to prevent quick switch bypass, and reduce damage penalty versus players from 15 from 20%. Now I think this is actually a humongous buff for the Atomizer, considering that you have to deploy while triple jumping doesn't really make a difference. Now what I think is the Atomizer got a whole lot better, considering that they removed the attack speed. They like remove the self-inflicted damage, you know? This is actually pretty good for the Atomizer. This has a bright future. Anyways, let's go for the Flying Guillotine. Now, we know we all encounter those people with the freaking, the flying, the Sandman, the Guillotine. You know, it's so obnoxious. We don't like those Scouts. But, they're finally changing it. Let's see the changes. So, removed crit versus stunned players, removed mini crits at long range, and added the long range hits reduced charge by 1.5 seconds, and the distance considered long range reduced by half of the previous value when determining mini crits. Oh man, the Flying Guillotine is now officially terrible. This is probably a bad weapon to use. This is a very bad weapon. This is, oh guys, oh man, I feel so bad. So bad. But this is the end of the Scout. What I do think is they should increase the clip for the winger by maybe like 9, like the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol, and the scout speed to maybe plus 15% or like 10 or 5. You know, the scout's supposed to be a fast class. But anyways, let's move on to the soldier. And now let's see, the base jumper is being changed. From players often complain that the base jumper is frustrating to fight against because target is simply too hard to hit. This is mostly due to the combination of being able to deploy retract at will and the amount of steering control they have, which makes them too unpredictable. The changes is going to be the reduced amount of air control while deployed at 50%, and remove the ability to re-employ the parachute once retracted until the player lands on the ground again. No, what I think is the base jumper, people often use it for the market gardener. So what I think is they have absolute no control for the parachute, because in real life you don't have no control for it unless you have one of those glider things. So either that, I think the base jumper is pretty much the same, except the ability to deploy the parachute once retracted until the player lands on the ground again. Those are the only changes. And I think they buffed the man treads from a plus 75 push force reduction, now includes an air blast and a plus 20% air control when blast jumping. Now I think the man treads is going to be really good now, according to this. And now we move on to sniper and the Darwin's danger shield. I hate this, and I like finally they nerf it. Alright, I hate it when they do it. Alright, the changes is the new design, according to them, is the counter range burn attacks, e.g. flares, and strengthens melee flights versus pyros, the afterburn immunity, and the plus fire resist. Now, I don't think they added the snipers, but it just says the goal: remove the increased survivability against enemy snipers, which invalidates the existing design. Now, I think they're going to remove it, actually, and I think this is pretty good, considering that we all hate, like, battling these guys. We all hate it. And the Razorback actually is having one. The changes added negative 100% overheal penalty, and the shield regenerates after 30 seconds. 30 seconds is half a minute, so you have to wait that long, and I think it's still bad. I mean, just kill him with the rifle. Just kill him with the revolver, for God's sake. Jesus Christ. Why did they even make this weapon again? I don't even know. I don't use it. Everyone uses a different weapon. Cleaner's carbine, the backpack thing. You know, why this? And that's probably it. And we move on to the medic. Now I'm gonna start first with the Crusaders Crossbow, which everyone uses. Now the bolt healing is very high and significantly out heals the minigun. When a target is in combat, this may be okay, given the trade-offs of range shot, hitting, the opportunity cost, no overkill. However, it's also the fastest way to build the overcharge, right under the conditions, e.g. corner damage farming with the medic behind cover. The changes is Ubercharge gain rate reduced the same way that the minigun's healing, and therefore Ubercharge build rate is based on the last time the target was in combat, which reduced by the third when the -10 seconds out of combat, and scales up to the normal over 10 to 15 seconds. Now I think this doesn't really change the Crusaders Crossbow. We still use it primarily to heal from a faraway distance, not to, you know, farm it. We don't use it to farm like Ubers. We use our minigun for that. You know, I use the quick fix, and you know, this doesn't really do anything. The Crusaders Crossbow is still good, guys. In my opinion, it is, at least. Now on to the Hoovy, the magnificent Hoovy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. All miniguns. Wow. Changes the negative 1 second damage penalty. The second damage and accuracy penalty now applies to the first second of a spun up time, whether or not the heavy is firing. Previously, the 1 second damage penalty would only be removed after 1 second of firing. Now, I think this is not going to change, probably. You know, it's probably going to change. The accuracy and the damage penalties now reset when the heavy spins down, rather than when the heavy stops firing. This means you can stay spun up beyond 1 second and fire in burst damage, and accuracy will remain at 100%. Wow, that is pretty good. Anyways, we move on to the gloves of running urgently. Now, I know people use this to escape. I use the eviction notice, but let's read. The speed lack off is used to balance the heavy's high health, overheal, and damage output. While we still believe it's okay to have a class of items that increase heavy's movement speed, players have been able to easily mitigate the existing negatives. The changes added: the max health is drained while item is active, minus 10 per second, and regenerated while holstered. The health regenerate only the amount drained while active, minus any damage taken during that time. Each time the gloves are deployed, the drain rate is accelerated for a brief period of time, and remove the mark for death penalty while active, and remove the 25% damage penalty. Now, for me, this is probably gonna change. The thing's gonna be pretty. This thing's gonna be like not used for a long time, considering that the drain 10 per second, man, and it accelerates when you deploy them. So this is gonna take a lot of your health. Also, no one cares about the mark for death effect, while your speed, your speed is you're gonna hide somewhere else. You probably have your sandwich, just eat it. Jeez, like, oh my god, this weapon just got nerfed, bro. Oh no. The eviction notice. Oh god. Let's see. The changes added: max health is drained while item is active, -5 per second, and regenerated while holstered. If health regenerate only the amount while drained while active, minus any damage taken during that time, and remove the 20% damage vulnerability. Oh no. Oh, not my poor sweet eviction notice. I just made a freaking montage about that. I got a lot of hate, but oh no, I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you a lot. Oh god. Just stay there, buddy. You're gonna get puffed. I promise you. I guarantee you. I did not waste 10 cents on you, man. 10 cents. Anyways, let's go to the Fist of Steel. The downside of increased melee damage doesn't really come into play when it counts, e.g. holding a choke point or objective. When a medic is attached, the resulting pool of effective health is unreasonably large. The changes is added 40% overheal reduction while active, and added 40% healing rate penalty while active. Now, I don't really use the Fist of Steel, but when I do, you get pretty pissed because we usually shoot them, not melee them. So I bet they're gonna switch to a different, melee, I guess. But let's go on to the Engineer, and we're going to go with the Rescue Ranger, as that is the only one and the last one we have. The Rescue Ranger has the ability to repair buildings safely from range without using metal is powerful. Combine this with the ability to instantly teleport buildings from afar away, which by itself is interesting and useful enough in many circumstances, and you end up with a package that is very strong. The changes: range repairs now consume metal at 4:1 health to metal ratio, e.g. repairing 60 damage costs 15 metal. Now, I think this is complete a nerf. This is equal, It was pretty OP. I mean, for God's sake, you're healing them for free. Jesus. Wow, that's pretty OP. Now it's just, equally balanced. I think this is a good one. I think this is good balance. But unfortunately for my review, I think most things got nerfed than buffed. And I hope that this update can save Team Fortress 2 from dying from many games, including Overwatch, Paladins, there are too many games to count. But guys, I really hope you enjoy my review. It's probably the first one I had in a long time. But anyways, guys, I really hope you have it. Please like, comment, and please comment of what you think about the update and what you think should be buffed, nerfed, either it's in the list or not in the list. And make sure you subscribe to that button, smash that subscribe button, like it's your side chick. Anyway, guys, ciao.